Hello everyone, I'm bringing a video today looking at my copy of Shoot to Live. Now this is a 1981 British Army pamphlet dealing with marksmanship principles, shooting positions. Basically the idea of this is to promote good shooting and effective fire, basically. And we're going to have a look through this, have a quick look at the various illustrations, and obviously talk a bit about the contents of this, the text that covers various elements of shooting principles, marksmanship principles, and basically give you a run through of the information that's contained within this. If you're interested in the British Army and the latter part of the Cold War, it's definitely worth keeping an eye out for a copy of this. It's quite an interesting pamphlet from the period, and from a point of view of a reenactor trying to recreate the British soldier from this period at events and so forth. Again, it's good to have a working knowledge of the principles outlined in the pamphlet. So we'll have a look through this and hopefully it will be interesting doing so. So here we have Shoot to Live. Now what I'm going to do is flick through this and we'll have a look at each page in turn. I'm not going to read every section of text out, but I will give opportunity for you to pause and read for those bits where I don't read out the text. So just to let you know at the start, that's what I'm planning to do with this. Looking at the front cover here, first of all, you can see Shoot to Live in red there on a stylized sort of sight picture. We have the rear sight here and the front sight obviously lined up on a standard figure target there. We have the Army code number in the top left, which is 71172, as you can see. There's not really much on the back cover. We just have the Crown copyright reserved in the bottom left there, as you can see. Opening this up, we'll have a look at the contents first of all, and you can see the foreword, what's it all about, the training system, and stage 1, grouping and zeroing, stage 2, application of fire, stage 3, training tests, annual personal weapons test, and stages 4 and 5, individual and team battle shooting. And as we'll see, 4 and 5 are sort of more specific training for infantry. We'll see that in a minute or two when we flick further into the book. Forward here, in basic terms, this advises what the pamphlet is for, which is basically to improve shooting ability, improve the skills of a shooter. And you have here, this is from obviously the Director of Army Training, the date 1981 at the bottom there, as you can see. So this looks sort of like it should date from the 70s. I suppose 81 is not that far removed from the 70s, but it has a feel of the 1970s about it, but it's really more obviously applicable to the British Army of the 1980s. Date of 1981 at the start there. You have the Marksman's Badge on the left here, which of course is awarded, is the award for marksmanship in the British Army, and then you obviously have a shooting cup and so forth illustrated on the right here as well. The illustrations within this vary in quality, so that's something to note as we're flicking through this. And again, you can pause here if you want to have a closer look and read the little bit at the bottom there on the left. We'll flick further on. This is all part of the sort of introductory text. We have another illustration here, not fantastic in terms of the details being replicated, the camouflage pattern, the web equipment and everything, but still quite a nice illustration. And you have some further text here. This is one I will read out. Remember too that on active service you have to pit your skills against the enemy. Your ability as a good shot may determine the success or failure of an operation, which is absolutely a fair point to make. We then have a further illustration in that sort of introductory part of the book. And often your own life, as well as the safety of your comrades, will depend on your shooting skills, which again is a very fair point to make. And you obviously have a medical personnel treating a casualty there in this illustration. In addition to these slightly more somber illustrations, you do have cartoons, as we have on the right here as well. And this is a little introduction here to the training system. There are really 5 stages in training a battle shot. These are progressive, and you must complete the first 3 stages before end of recruit training, although infantry recruits will cover stages 4 and 5 in their final battle camp, of course. So as you can see there, slightly more applicable to infantry in that regard. We have here further details on the grouping and zeroing, engaging different types of battle target, personal weapons test, the individual battle shooting and team battle shooting stages of the training. And should you wish to, please do pause here and read through these. It gives you an overview of each stage in a little bit more detail than we had in just the list at the start. And then stage 1 is detailed here with a bit of humour in the cartoon, grouping and zeroing. And obviously what we have there is a rather interesting pattern shot into the target, but that's not what's meant by grouping, of course. And again, you have text here detailing these stage 1, basically, which is grouping and zeroing. We move on. We then have an interesting section with further illustrations, and these are a bit better in terms of the detail and so forth, but these show you various different firing positions, positions that could be taken up when firing the rifle. First of all, you have the fairly typical example there, lying prone. You then have the sitting position, and that's a little bit more unusual to see, but another one that's illustrated here. Kneeling position, of course, and the standing position. So just nice in terms of details, the way the rifle's held, getting a good cheek weld against the butt and so forth, the way the hand's positioned on the foregrips, the handguards. So just sort of interesting from that point of view, quite useful illustrations. Not only is this interesting just in and of itself, but obviously if you're a reenactor of this period, it's quite useful from that perspective as well as a primary source for these skills. A proper hold is actually detailed here, as you can see. And we have, as you can see, there's some text detailings as well. So again, if you want to pause and read that, please do. And if we open this up here, you have a really nice illustration here showing you a smooth rhythm for aiming and firing. And you can see here, take up the trigger slack as you align the sights, control your breathing whilst you steady your aim, then squeeze the trigger to fire the shot when your aim picture is correctly on the target. And these are principles which I was taught as a cadet, although obviously I was using the cadet version of the SA80, the L98, which is a horrible thing. Anyway, that's by the by. So principles I'm fairly familiar with, but nice to see it written here as it was taught at the time. And again, you have another illustration of a good sight picture there, as you can see, or aim picture as it's referred to in the pamphlet. You can see that bottom right there. So a really nice illustration, that one. And here you are. Don't forget to follow through. After firing the shot, note where the recoil has left your sights pointing and re-aim as quickly as possible. The less you have to move the rifle muzzle to aim again, the better. It proves that you have mastered the essentials. Grouping. When you fire a group, take a good look at where your shots have hit the target. Often you will be able to see for yourself if you are making mistakes, and you may be able to correct them yourself. So this is effectively aiming off. If you are finding that your shots are going wild, you can aim off and bring your group over somewhere else, and you can see you can move your group across the target basically. Split your group. You may get two small separated groups, one of 2 rounds and the other of 3. This probably means that you changed your position slightly. Don't move your elbows between shots. Test and adjust your position properly before you start firing. And that's very true. If you do adjust your position in between shots, you will end up with a split group, as you see there. That's a fairly basic principle of shooting, but an important one to illustrate here. I'm not going to read all of these because, again, if I did read through everything, it would take a very long time to make this video, but I think it's clear enough there. If you wanted to pause and read, this tells you basically what's going wrong if you get various issues with groups, as you can see here. So you've got the vertical group, diagonal group, one away, and diagonal groups was something I always used to have a problem with, but I did correct that eventually. One away, wide group, and tight group, as you can see on the right there, which is what you're looking for, of course. It's what you must aim to achieve. Until you can do this, you will not be able to zero your rifle properly. And of course, it's important you need to be able to group your shots and then bring that group to the center of where you're aiming by zeroing the rifle. Zeroing is detailed here. And again, I'm not going to run through this entire section here. Again, you can pause. I think I've got the light sufficiently clear on here. There's not too much glare. You could read this through by pausing. But zeroing should always be done when you are first issued with a weapon, before you fire your annual weapon test, before you go on active service, and after your weapon has been repaired or handled, which might have affected the position of the sight. So just an important detail taken out of this that I have read out is when a weapon should be zeroed. Stage 2 is then application of fire. When you have become a standard grouper, as it's referred to, you know your correct POA to hit the target in the lying, kneeling, sitting and standing positions. You are ready for the next stage, and that is application of fire. And you can see here you have various different ways, basically all sorts of targets and in different conditions, such as the list at the bottom here. And again, you can pause and read through that should you wish to, the details of each of those. Flick through here and you can see here Factors affecting your point of aim, and this is obviously once you're able to produce a tight group and your rifle has been zeroed, you have to then consider what's going to affect your point of aim, and that's detailed on this page here. And again, you can pause and read through. Obviously a fresh wind, a strong wind will affect how much you need to aim off in order to hit the target. And you can see here there's slightly aiming off with a fresh wind and then aiming off further, or basically aiming off in the direction the wind is blowing from, rather, in order for that shot to land centre body or centre target. So important but basic principles. You then have further elements of that list here, as you can see, and again you can pause and read through that if you wish to. Again, make sure there's not too much glare on there. And we have another rather humorous cartoon there, as you can see, oil barrel or dirty ammunition, and an illustration lining up with that. And you also have a crossing target as well, mentioned here at the end. It's the final point on that list. The point of aim is shown there in the illustration. So again, the illustrations are quite useful. You have the basic method and the ambush method detailed at the bottom of page 25 there as well. So again, pause and read through those if you would like to. It's quite interesting details there. And then final point here is missed drills. As you can see here, if you keep missing the target, what you should do. Basic drill, strike spotting and shooting low. And you can see the details there of what you should do in each instance. Stage 3, training, tests, annual personal weapon test. So this is stage 3 of the whole process. And you have preparation at the bottom there, what should be done in preparation. Don't panic and remember your drill underneath the cartoon there. Probably very good advice, of course. And then we have details of the training's tests here. So safety tests, stripping, cleaning and assembling, magazine filling, loading, standing position, 1A and gas stoppages, unloading, lying position, application of fire, preparation for firing. And you can see there the activity noted next to each of those, and you can pause and read through that should you wish to. Interestingly here, it notes you can improve your shooting muscles by doing rifle strengthening exercises, pokey drill as it's otherwise known, and yeah, I say with an SLR, that's pretty good for strengthening the arm muscles for sure. And then you have your annual personal weapon test, APWT, noted underneath here. And there are various details which we'll run through here. Well, I'm not going to read through all of it again. You can run through, pause and read through this. Flick to the next page now so you can read through here. And then you have a section here on during firing. And as a recruit, you will have a coach to help you for the first time you fire the test, but other times, even without a coach, the drill is basically the same. Think of the word spade work. It will help you to remember the drills. So S is check that your sights are properly adjusted. P is confirm your POA, your point of aim, with your sight, with your sighting shots, and adjust if necessary. A is adopt a natural and comfortable fire position, which is of course important so that you're not moving around. D is carry out the correct drills. E, don't repeat errors. W, check wind speed and direction to obviously inform your point of aim. O is obey all range commands. R, remain calm. And K, know the practice. So we have the practices detailed at the bottom here, as you can see. Stage 4 and 5, individual and team battle shooting. Close quarter battle situation, which is another good cartoon in this. When you've completed stages 1, 2 and 3 satisfactorily, you will move on to battle shooting. This is great fun as you will use the skills which you have to learn in realistic battle situations, either as an individual or member of a team. And it is the climax of your rifle training as noted here. So again, you can read the rest of that there. Should you wish to, pause and read the rest of that. Obviously it notes here Northern Ireland specifically, obviously a fairly major deployment for the British Army at the time, of course. And pause on this page here if you wish to read more of this, but you have here the individual battle shooting sort of introductory paragraph 1 there, and team battle shooting paragraph 2, and then you have 3 and 4 there. Before firing, assessments during battle shooting is paragraph 4 there, as you can see. And again, pause here if you wish to and read through these. Another nice illustration there, as you can see. And then you have at the back here sort of a concluding page with details of scores you should be aiming for in your annual personal weapon test. And in conclusion, remember, this booklet has been produced to help you. Use it as a guide and glance through it before you go on the range. Remind yourself of the requirements of good shooting, such as correct sight picture, allowance for wind, comfortable firing position, and the many other points your instructors have taught you. Make sure you know and understand the practice you're about to fire, and with calmness, concentration, and confidence, you have the basis on which to shoot to live. Finally, weapons are lethal. Correct handling avoids accidents. Never forget safety. And a very important point at the end there, of course. So that concluding paragraph is quite a good summary of what the book's about. Basically, it's teaching the soldier how to shoot effectively, and it assists in guiding through that training process, and that is what will allow a soldier to shoot to live. So hopefully you'll have found it interesting looking through this. As I say, it was nice to dig this out and have a flick through it myself. It's been a little while since I've looked at it, so it gave me opportunity to dig it out and have another read through this myself. Varied quality of illustrations within this, as you can see, as you'll have seen if you watched all the way through to the end, but nevertheless useful. The illustrations do show clearly enough the various shooting positions and things like that, and obviously some of the artists that got to do these obviously were better than others, but it's interesting in and of itself. But obviously a full colour pamphlet as well, which is quite nice, and certainly something I was very pleased to add to the collection. I say hopefully you found it interesting looking at this. If you have and you'd like to see more of this sort of thing, please do consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, and whether you're newly subscribing or you've previously subscribed, please do make sure you hit the little bell, the notification button down below. That will of course alert you when I upload future videos. If you really like my uploads and you would like to support the channel, you can. Both Patreon and PayPal are linked down below. And as I always say, a huge thank you to everybody who supports the channel using both of those methods. It really is greatly appreciated. A huge thank you to all of you. If you'd like to follow the channel on social media, you can. Facebook, Instagram and Twitter are all linked down below. And if you'd like to get in touch with me, but you don't really use social media, there is of course an email address down there as well. That's everything for this video, so until next time, bye for now.